We need to know what's really going on.
Welcome to Dave's Take. Today we were talking about Blink Twice, the new film written and directed by Zoe Kravitz. So Blink Twice is about these two waitresses that get invited to a private island owned by this billionaire. It's supposed to be a big party, but there's some fuckery going on. Like I said before, Zoe Kravitz is directing this film, and this is her first film that she's directing. It's her debut, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed. Because overall with Blink Twice, I feel like the film came together pretty well. There's some great shots, some great color, some tension, some suspense that I think for a first-time director, it'd be really hard to pull this off, and I feel like she did. The film isn't perfect. It's not even that great. I just gotta say, overall, for this being someone's first time making a big movie like this, it didn't seem like it was a debut. But yes, I didn't think this film was perfect, but overall, it was entertaining. I think this film has the same type of vibe as Get Out or even Bodies that came out last year. I think that there's definitely some inspiration from those films, and it has that type of tone, that type of mystery, that type of everyone's in this one location. It seems like it's the most magical thing ever, but obviously there is something afoot. And there are parts throughout this film that's the best part, where a character is figuring out what the hell is going on. Those little clues you pick up on, the suspense while the characters are trying to figure out shit. And all that happens in the second half of this movie, which the second half of this movie is fucking crazy. It's bonkers. You could tell that that first half was really building to something that was going to explode, and it does pay off. But I have to say that first half of the movie is definitely my biggest issue with this movie. Don't get me wrong, I love building things. I love developing characters and situations, and that's what makes a really great film. But this movie in the first half really has trouble keeping people on board what's going on. It feels extremely repetitive. It feels like, yes, we've been doing this day in and day out, and it doesn't feel like we're really getting any new information for about, I would say 40% of that first half. I didn't expect to do so much math in this review, but here we are. This movie's the perfect runtime. It's about 100 minutes long, but it feels like it's over 2 hours long. And that's because there's so many elements of that first half of the film that really drag. But once we get to that second half, it does feel like we were building to some sort of explosion, and it really takes off from there. It's intense, you're invested, it's fucking disturbing, it's violent, and it's everything you kind of want to see in a thriller like this, where we finally get that big payoff. But I have to say, it takes a little bit too long to get to that point, and it has trouble keeping us invested on the way there. And overall, the script, I think there's some parts of dialogue here that just don't seem right. Everything else was written fine, but then there are random scenes where it just sounds a little off. And then on top of that, there are some edits that kind of irritated me. There are a lot of cutaways, a lot of things that happen off camera that I wanted to see happen, especially in a movie that's supposed to be this thriller. And yes, there's going to be some violence, there's going to be some carnage. I kind of wish we saw a little bit more of it, and especially with all that buildup. And with the cast, I thought everyone did a great job. It's a really big cast. And Channing Tatum, I thought, did a really good job, but there's one scene that he has where I think it almost, I don't even know how to describe it. He went a little bit too far. All of his performance throughout the film I thought was really well done, but there's just this one scene where he just wouldn't fucking stop doing this one thing, this one line. It went on for it felt like 2 minutes. It was probably only 20 seconds. That just came off as extremely awkward, and it happened towards the end of the film. And the ending of the film, for this story, I really don't mind it, but there's just a lot of logistical things that don't make sense to me. I get what they're doing, and yeah, I think for the story it works, but then also it's one of those things where you think about it too much, you're like, I don't think that would work. The vibe it's going for and the overall theme, it does work. I just think logistically, there's some details that need to be hashed out a little bit. But overall, I did enjoy this film. I don't want you guys to think I hated it. I just feel like when you criticize a movie, the things you don't like stand out more than things you did like. I think this film overall is pretty solid. The mystery that I thought dragged a little bit, once we get to the point where it starts paying off, right when that second half starts, it's worth it. And it starts becoming a lot more intense, a lot more interesting. and it feels like it was earned. But there's some things they need to shave off in that first half, or maybe buff up a little bit to make it more interesting. But this was an impressive debut for a thriller. It definitely reminds me of films like Get Out or Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And if you enjoyed those films, you'll like Blink Twice. And if you just enjoy solid-ass original thrillers, I think you'll like Blink Twice too. I'm going to give Blink Twice 7 Davey Daves. There are definitely some parts that feel pretty predictable, but overall, they feel predictable because it's like you're paying attention to some of the details. So part of me is like, yeah, that was well done. But then another part of me is like, they could have done that a little bit better. So, Blink Twice. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.